Anna.
And I'm Shay, and we're Dinner National.
Today we're making Russian food.
Russia is the largest country on Earth, stretching all the way from the Baltic Sea to the Pacific Ocean. So understandably, its cuisine is very diverse. It's literally bigger than the surface area of Pluto. Russian food is hearty and fortifying to warm you in the cold winters. Meaty stews, nourishing soups, root vegetables, dill pickles, sour cream and bread form the cornerstones of everyday Russian home cooking. Today, we're making borscht, probably the most famous soup from Eastern Europe. We're also making a creamy beef stroganoff served over egg noodles. Add dill pickles, rye bread, and a simple summer salad, and you've got comfort food at its finest. Let's get started.
So we're going to be making red borscht. This is an old Slavic recipe that's very popular in Eastern Europe and Northern Asia. There are a couple different varieties. Like I said earlier, we're making the red kind today, which has beetroot, and it is this beautiful, glorious red color. Add a little sour cream to it. I've never had borscht before, but I'm sure I'm gonna love it. It's gonna be great. So what I have here is 1 pound of stew meat. You could do 1 pound of bone-in chuck. That would probably be best because you're gonna make a little broth with this. So I salted this about 20 minutes ago and it's just been resting. So I'm gonna add this to 4 quarts of water that is simmering. So I'm going to move this to the back burner and I'll let this simmer for 20 minutes. All right, we're gonna get started. This is 4 tablespoons of vegetable oil. This pan is heating over medium-high heat. I'm going to put in half of a large yellow onion. It's been sliced up. So I'm just gonna soften these up just a little bit before I add our carrots and our beets. So this is about 5 small beets. You can use 1 large beet, you know, just kind of fill it out. I'd say this is about 1.5 cups. I don't think I've ever had soup with beets in it, but this seems to be super popular. Super popular. So have to try it. I'm also going to add in our carrots. This is 2 large carrots that have also been grated. Stir this together. And you're just gonna cook this until it's a little bit softened. Yeah, 7 to 10 minutes. So this is a dish with international acclaim. If you Google borscht or red borscht, you'll find that it's similar to like jollof rice or hummus or falafel, where it started in one place, but it's become popular all over that region. While these are softening up, I'm gonna go check our meat and I'm gonna skim some of the scum that is risen to the top of the water. Our onions, beets, and carrots are nice and soft. We have our meat back at the center here, and I've just skimmed off some more of that debris off the top. And I'm going to scoop in our mixture of beets and carrots, and then we're going to add in our other vegetables. Now the water is turning this nice red color. Can't wait to try this. Just beat it. Remember not to stir this too much because you don't want to stir in that scum that has risen to the surface. You want to keep scooping that off periodically. Don't stir it into the soup. So what I'm going to add now is 1 16-ounce can of kidney beans. This is an optional ingredient, but it sounds really good. It sounds like it'll thicken the soup a bit and yeah. Extra flavor, bean flavor. So that was really dumb, dude. That was really dumb. So we're gonna let this simmer for 15 minutes and then we're gonna add in our potato. Okay, it's been 15 minutes. This is 3 yellow potatoes. This is 1 teaspoon of black pepper. This is 1 tablespoon of salt. You might want to add more later, so make sure to keep tasting as you go. But this will reduce a bit, so who knows. So this is 2 tablespoons of beef bouillon. Let's add a little more oomph to the soup, you know? This is 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. You can also use ketchup if you don't have tomato paste. And I know I said not to stir this, but you're probably gonna have to stir some of these ingredients in. And this is 1 tablespoon of white vinegar. If you like things a little tangier, you can add more. I like things tangier, but I don't wanna like overdo it. So let's give this a nice stir. What I'm gonna do is put this on the back burner and let it simmer about 5 to 10 minutes before you're ready to eat, add in the cabbage that you should have sliced very thinly. And once you add that dill, you're ready to eat.
Okay, let's talk stroganoff. First things first, I've got my pan going on like relatively high heat. I have some really nice fresh sirloin steak over here. So I would have normally used like a chuck or something like that, but then I saw this really nice fresh, well marbled piece of steak and I was like, I just gotta have it. This is like cut into thin strips, as you can see, with a little bit of fat on top. And this is about 2 pounds. I have 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil here. And also melt 2 tablespoons of butter. Don't skip on the butter, you guys. Butter makes everything better. There's something really special about steak frying like this. I'm just gonna add these in like a relatively single layer. I mean, of course, there's a little bit of clumping, but you cannot really help it. If you have a small skillet, I guess you can just do this in batches. My skillet is pretty big. I just got a new one. I'm just gonna let this saute for 3 to 5 minutes. I'm gonna try not to stir it too much because I want it to get like a little bit of color. Okay, looks like all of the water has evaporated and it's starting to get like a little bit of browning. So the idea is not to cook it completely because we're gonna finish this in the sauce. So now I'm gonna reserve this meat in this plate. This is normally not encouraged because this was dirty, but then I'm gonna cook it again, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, so I've turned the heat down, but I'm using the same pan. This is kind of critical because, you know, there's all these tasty bits in the pan, which we don't want to get rid of. So this is 1 large onion that I've cut into like little strips. I'm just gonna use this onion to deglaze this pan a little bit, and once that's done, I'll add in the mushrooms. Stroganoff, you guys, is a dish that's kind of cooked in a French tradition, but the ingredients could not be any more Russian. So from what I understand, it looks like it was something that Russian immigrants cooked in France, but it's like a really popular dish all over the world. Believe it or not, I first had it in India for the first time. Such is the magic of stroganoff.
Wait, you had beef in India?
No, chicken.
Okay, chicken.
All right, so now it's time to add the mushrooms. Just toss it in there for a little second. Make sure you're scraping up all the fond and coating your vegetables with the meaty goodness. Meaty goodness. That would be an excellent band name. Okay, at this point, if it looks like things are getting a little bit dry in there, pour like a spot of beef stock. This is just about like a 1/4 cup. I just wanted to get the pan like a little bit wet because don't want anything to burn at this stage, right? I'm gonna let this saute for like another about 5 minutes. As you can see, I'm scraping up all of the fond, and this is kind of important, you guys. Fond is flavor. These have been going for about 5 to 7 minutes. They're pretty soft right now. Now it's time to add some flour. Make sure that you don't add all the flour in one spot because that's pretty much the only important part here. Everything else is super easy, but don't mess up the flour. So make sure that you just kind of like sprinkle it evenly, kind of everywhere. And then give this whole thing like a nice toss real quick. The idea is to cook the flour out a little bit before we add the rest of our liquid to make our roux. Okay, so the flour is starting to cook out, and I'm gonna add a cup of water. Beef stock would have been appropriate as well, but this is a cup of water, so that's why I'm gonna add like a tablespoon of bouillon powder. And give this whole thing a little stir and make sure that all the bits that are browned at the bottom, I get to scrape. At this stage, it's important to keep stirring it. Our mustard goes in. This is like 2 teaspoons of whole grain mustard. You can just use regular mustard if you don't have it, but maybe use a little bit less. It smells like the flour has mostly cooked out. So now I'm gonna reintroduce the steak back into this mix. Make sure that you get all of the juices because the juices are what will make the dish. It's the little things. Give this whole thing a little stir. If you feel like it's getting a little bit dry, maybe add like another spot of stock. So I just added half a cup of water because it was starting to get a little dry. Stir everything to incorporate. Now it's time to add the sour cream. Look at this. This is 1 giant whole cup of sour cream. Believe it or not, Russian people would probably use a little bit more than that. So I'm just gonna add this in here. Switch off the heat. This is important. And then stir this whole thing together. Stroganoff is ready for garnish, you guys. Now I'm just gonna let this sit for a little while, keep it warm, and in the meantime, quickly make some egg noodles. You guys know how to make egg noodles, right? Check out the package. The water boiling. I'm gonna salt it aggressively. And once this water boils, I'm just gonna cook these noodles for like about 7 minutes. And yeah, that's about it.
Okay, so we're gonna get started with the Russian salad. This is a staple in most Russian and Ukrainian homes. And you probably can guess that there's gonna be tomato and cucumber in it, like most salads in the rest of the world. Here we have 3 Roma tomatoes that have been diced up, pretty small. This is 4 Persian cucumbers. You can use whatever kind of cucumber you want. This is about half of a red onion, a small red onion. If you have green onion, use that. That's more traditional. This is 3 sprigs of dill that I have chopped up, fresh dill. If you don't have that, it's not a big deal, but it is a big deal. You want dill in this salad. All right, so this is sour cream, the ingredient of Russia, the main food group. That's not true. And black pepper, and a couple pinches of salt here. Actually, not too much. And mix it together. That's it, guys. This is it. We're just gonna let this sit in the fridge till we're ready to eat. I'm just gonna take a little piece. Oh, yeah. I would totally eat this every day. Very good.
Who's ready for some Russian food? I know I am.
Yeah, I am too. I'm rushing to get into this.
We promised you no more food puns.
Did we?
No, it's okay.
That's never gonna happen. Okay, I wanna try this borscht. I mean, I've had bites of it since we started making it. It's quite nice. It reminds me of my mom's vegetable beef soup. Yeah, I love it.
What's not to love? Beef and vegetables. So tasty, right? I'm gonna have a little bit of the summer salad. Also delicious.
We should try this. It's it would be perfect for like a snowy day in Russia.
I think this really works. I mean, the borscht, it's got this really deep flavor.
Yeah, and I know you guys probably noticed there's not a lot of spices in here.
Yeah, the dill definitely works though. And this meat is super tender too. Did you try some of the potato?
Yeah, I did. It's really good. Not mushy, perfect texture.
Yep. See, that's why you should add the cabbage like right in the end. We knew that it was going to take us like a little bit of time to make up the stroganoff and things like that. So, you know, we held off on adding the cabbage until the end. And we suggest you do too. Okay. Now time for my favorite dish. Stroganoff and noodles. Here you go. Some dilly meat, dilly beef.
Wow.
Yeah, so I've never had stroganoff with egg noodles before. I've only had it with rice. From what I understand, in Russia, it's also popular to eat it with mashed potatoes. I mean, you can imagine, right? Like a really creamy stroganoff gravy.
I mean, you could put that gravy on a shoe and it would be perfect.
I may have accidentally put some in my shoe this morning.
Yeah, he probably did get some gravy on his shoe. Oh yeah, why don't you tell them about our meat plate?
For fancy Russian dinner parties like this one, it's very typical to have a plate of cold cuts. What we have over here is a couple of different slices of deli meat and rye bread, which is like very traditional to Russia. And of course, no Russian meal is complete without like a nice dose of sour cream and some pickles.
Dill pickles. Cheers.
Or should we say
Nostrovia.
Nostrovia? Sorry, Russian people, if you're saying that wrong, please correct us. Oh, is that vodka?
Is that Russian vodka?
Where's mine?
It's right there in front of you.
Oh.
All right. To a great meal. Nostrovia.
This vodka's really burning.
Yeah.
All right, folks, so we're gonna finish eating this delicious meal. Yeah, we'll see you next week.
See you next week.